Sure, I guess.
All right. Welcome to Transparent with the Townsends live
Live edition.
edition. We have never gone live before. So this is kind of intimidating. Normally we are literally pre-recorded, and so if something bad happens or something we don't like happens, we just hit the stop button. So this is real life. Real life, real life. Okay? So why did we decide to go live again? Why are we doing this?
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I know as we've done a couple of videos, so far people who have felt impacted by them have, at least a few of those people who have talked to us, have let us know about particular questions that they had that they felt would be good for to be answered. And so since we hadn't gotten to them as far as like in the series, for those, because we already had pre-planned stuff we wanted to talk about, we decided to kind of open up and have like a Q&A, kind of interactive moments where we have questions from you guys and kind of answer those questions with our experience and our perspectives to answer those questions you guys have. So yeah, I know you had some particular reasons why you felt we need to do a Q&A. So I'll let you kind of talk on your moment as well.
Yeah. You want to share it to my story while we're doing it? Okay. So the reason why I was like, okay, it's time for us to go live is because, well, mainly someone like kind of challenged me to do it. And this is actually someone I met recently, and she kind of watched our channel and was like, you guys need to go live. And she was kind of coaching me through it, and I said we would do it. And I didn't want to come out to be a liar, so we are here doing it. And also because this is like really intimidating for me just to be like recording something live, because I tend to trip out when we record our pre-recorded videos. So doing it live is kind of like no takebacks, and that's the real reason we're doing this, because I needed to conquer this fear and get over it. And as she said to me, it's just practice. It's just practice. Practice for what? I don't know, but I think she knew. So that's what we're doing. And this is kind of like he said, like a Q&A style video, since it's the first one. And we do have some questions that some of our friends and people we know wanted to ask us. So we wrote them down so we can answer them. And yeah, if you guys have more questions, you can always comment below or somewhere in the video. Hopefully we'll see it, and then we can respond to those too. So, you want to get into the questions?
Sure. Yeah, we can go ahead and hop in. We are waiting for the people. We can go ahead and get started. So.
Okay, I see a few people.
There's a few. Okay,
it's enough.
They're hopping on.
It's enough people.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
My question for you is, what is your favorite thing about being married?
Ooh, just one?
I don't know. However many you have, I guess. Just don't keep it that long. We can be long-winded.
Hey,
Hi.
welcome. So my favorite thing about marriage would have to be you.
Oh, wow.
Me? Yeah. I'll expound on that a little bit.
You being all cute and sweet on front of the camera.
I'm just saying. I mean,
on the camera.
It's true though. So,
okay.
Why I say you is because, well, first off, like. It's a blessing being married, and I feel like you are a strong support base that I can always rely on as to support me with all my endeavors, as well as like I feel like you look at like the moments when I'm weird and you appreciate it, and you appreciate me, and so I don't ever have to feel like there's a moment where you look at me and be like, oh, you're too weird, or you're too like off,
you're
or whatever.
too weird.
Yeah, or like for you, I feel like you accept all of me, and so that I think has probably been the most favorite thing for me. Just kind of having that, and been a blessing. So yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's really sweet for you to say.
You're a strong partner.
I was not prepared for that answer. Thank you.
You want to answer that?
Do I want to answer the question I just asked?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, because how am I gonna live up to that? Like, I can't just be sweet on command.
No, I'm not asking you to be. I mean,
I know. All right, what is my favorite thing about being married? Okay, so it's not gonna be like as sweet of an answer, but I think honestly it's the same thing that I really was nervous about getting married, which was that I was gonna live with you and you were gonna live with me, because my track record with roommates is not great. Like, historically with roommates, I was not good at, it didn't work. So I was very nervous about that. But I don't know. That's like my favorite part, is that you're always there. Like, you're just consistent, and I go to bed next to you and I wake up next to you, and you keep coming back home and stuff. I like that.
I do.
I like your consistency, You do. Oh. Oh.
I do.
Okay. You're right. The way you said it. Thank you for choosing me every day.
Okay.
So.
All right.
That's nice. It's nice to be chosen.
So I do have a question for you. Mm-hmm. So the kind of flip side of that is, what would you say has been the hardest part of our marriage for you?
The hardest part of our marriage. I don't know if it's well, I guess it depends on how I answer the question. Like, it's not the hardest thing about being married, but I guess that's not what you asked anyway. You asked the hardest part of our marriage. The hardest part of our marriage, I would say, would have to be like last year, dealing with the infertility stuff. I mean, dealing with our fertility journey, because I don't claim to be infertile or anything like that. But yeah, I think that was just hard because we didn't expect it. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things that I know affects people's marriages. And I think it could have went either of two ways if we would have let it.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been bad. Yeah. But we, instead of turning against each other, we stuck together. And it was rough. It was real bumpy, but we're still here.
True that.
That was it for me.
True.
What about you?
I think. That's a good question. I think part of that too, but I also think for me, the roughest outside of that would have to have been like our honeymoon, where I felt like
honeymoon. Jeez.
Well, yeah, there was a dark moment where I thought we weren't actually going to stay married
on our honeymoon,
because it felt like you may. I mean, you talked about this at another point, but I almost felt like I wasn't able to. What's the right word?
Live up to my expectations.
Yes, live up to your expectations. Like the first day or two wasn't really the fairy tale moment, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I could feel that from you, and so I really had to step up to the plate. Because I'd already kind of walked into our marriage with a little bit of baggage, and so I was a little afraid that the baggage would affect how the start of our marriage would go, which it did initially, but I had to get over the fact that the mental damage I had from that previous relationship, I couldn't let it destroy what I was walking into. So. And
it showed up literally after we got married. Like, what? After we get married, you want to do this? But no, I actually think that's not accurate. I think I was very much in my head about high expectations of marriage, and I think I also kind of had to do with that. I don't think I don't think you didn't meet my expectations. I think my expectations were unrealistic, maybe, or just I wasn't looking at the real picture. So,
okay,
yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into
you guys' questions.
You guys' questions now. So the first one is, When did you know that you were ready for marriage, and how did you know this is who you wanted to spend the rest of your life with? Good question.
You going first?
I can if you want me to.
Sure.
How did I know I was ready for marriage? Ooh, I don't know if I knew I was ready. Like, can you really ever be ready? But when I met Robert and I started to date him and get to know him and fall in love with him, I was like, oh, I see how people do this thing. Like, I see how people get married. I see how people are like, oh, they want to spend the rest of their life together. Like, because that was how I felt once I was in love with you. And I was like, this is so cheesy. I just felt, so there's this line in this movie, Great Gatsby. It's like one of my favorite movies. And Carey Mulligan, the actress, says this. And she tells him, I wish I had done everything on earth with you. And so I think I just started to feel that while we were dating. And I was like, I want to do everything on earth with this guy. Like, now I get it. Now I get why people get married. Because I didn't ever want to be married, honestly. Like, when I was a little girl, it was not my dream to go up and be someone's wife. Like, I never used to play marriage, wedding with my Barbies and stuff like that. Like, people say, oh, every woman wants to grow up and get married. Like, her wedding is her dream. No, that was not me. Like, I wanted to grow up and be Oprah and be a billionaire and be rich and famous, and that was it. Like, that, I didn't care about that. I could have had a Stedman, but I didn't plan on marrying him or anything like that.
Wow.
Sorry. But when I met you, that literally changed for me when I met you, because I was like, now I get why people get married. Like, I get why a person would want to commit to someone for the rest of their life. Because in my head, I was like, I want to do everything with you. I want to do everything on earth with this guy. And yeah. I don't know if I answered the second part of that question. How did I know it was you I wanted to spend the rest of my life with? I think it was the same thing. Like, when I realized this is the person that I want to do everything with, that was it for me. I was sold. Like, okay, well, I guess we're getting married at some point. I don't know when, but it's coming.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I'd have to say I've always wanted to be married.
Yeah.
I wanted to be married at a very young age, but it didn't really work out that way. And then I went through a really rough, relationship that had me to the point where I was ready to just be single for the rest of my life.
Forever.
I had already had the conversation with God, and I was like, look, God, I give up all my desires for marriage and chasing that down and the over-obsession I had about it. I said, I give all that to you. I trust my love life to you, all that to you. Like, if you want me to be married, you're going to have to bring her to me, because I'm not searching or looking. Like, because if you don't ever bring her, what's going to happen is I'm going to be like Paul out here with you. This is going to be me and you, and I'm going to run this single play, and I'm gonna just do what you call me to do.
Like Paul. I'm
going to be like out here like Paul. And so, interestingly enough, God was like, no, that's not what I got for you. No. And so I had my best friend introduce me to Crystal. And so I think when did I know that I was ready to marry? I guess marry you, or marriage period, I guess.
Both. When did you know you were ready for marriage, and how did you know it was me?
I think once she introduced me to you, and I guess I was like, well, I guess this has got opened up another door. And I met you, and I was like, I remember having a conversation with my friend, and I was like, talking about like how serious, I guess, that first conversation was, and how like everything went well, and then like you ghosted me for a second, and then like I remember I had a conversation with you, and I was like, look, I'm trying to court you, like, do you want me to like pursue you or not? And so for me, it was very much like, I'm setting my intentions from the beginning. Like, this isn't no fly by night, like one-off thing. Like,
I'm trying to run away.
Like, if you are in this for the long haul, the long-term plan is marriage. Like, I don't do relationships to do relationships. I do relationship to court, and the end result will be marriage. If we stick it out, the end result's gonna be marriage. So I was already making that, known from the very jump. And I think the moment I knew I was ready to marry you and you were the one, I think would probably be months in, where, like I said, you really, I had shown you all of me, and I think the biggest moment was when I shared like all my secrets, like light, dark, everything, and I was like, this is everything of me completely, and you were just like, okay. And like you didn't,
I can deal with this.
You weren't like disgusted by anything about me. You weren't like running away. You weren't, saying you're too weird or nothing like that. Like you accepted every part of me and was cool with it. And just like, okay, cool. And like we just kind of continued on the conversation. I was like, this woman like is okay with every part of me, and like she can vibe with me in everything that I do. And I was like, I can see myself with her for the rest of my life. And I think that probably around that same time was around the time where Jossie came to town and like took us ring shopping. And so
boldness.
I was already like thinking about it, and I think that just kind of cemented like when I actually got like put that ring on hold, and I was like, yeah.
I got the ring, so this is happening. Wow. I don't think I ever heard that before. Question number 2, or I guess 3, because that was kind of 2 questions. How has marriage changed your life?
Well, I would say marriage has changed my life in a lot of different ways. I would say it has caused me to mature in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Because I definitely would say I was probably a lot immature. I think I was probably mature for my age, but I think I was definitely immature in a lot of different areas. I was immature when it came to like thoughts about myself. Like I didn't really have as strong confidence in myself, and I think just being married has caused me to be more confident, as you have supported me in everything, and have had confidence in me, even when I didn't have confidence in myself about things. And marriage has also made me more, I think, responsible, because I realized like the decisions I make are not just about me. Like I have to be more smart and cautious and not just cautious, but also bold. It's like cautious but bold. Like I have to be like willing to take big steps.
I was gonna say take charge,
but also like not reckless. So it's like I have to be
accountable.
Yes, I have to be accountable, but I also have to like still keep my ambition. Like, and so that has definitely been something that's really interesting, and kind of making me step up into the leadership role. That leader in me has come out, I think, in marriage. Whereas I think when I was single, I was kind of running away from it. And so, I say God has used you to help mold me into the man I'm supposed to be.
Wow. Wowzers. Okay. That was nice, by the way. For me, I would say marriage, I mean, it's kind of similar for me. Like, I think marriage changed my life in the way that I became more confident in myself. Like, I think before, I wouldn't say I had low self-esteem, but I don't think I was as comfortable in my own skin. And when I got married, I think because you constantly, like, affirmed me, like, I just felt okay being me. And I think I showed up more with other people because I felt like, well, you know, you accept me, God loves me, my family loves me. It's time for me to start accepting me. Like, I'm okay as I am. So, yeah, I think it was a confidence booster for me. And I guess it kind of changed my life because I was, like, very independent before. And because that's how I was raised. Like, my mom raised me and my sister to be like, you know, I don't depend on no man for nothing, all that stuff. But like marriage, I realized that's not what marriage is. And I really did have to depend on you because you are like my other half now, right? So yeah, I think I became more confident and more dependent, I guess. Like less independent. Yeah. Yeah, man. Awesome. Marriage will change you. All right. Question. I don't know if we're going to get through all these questions because time is flying. We'll do our best. This question says, how do you handle conflict in your marriage, and has that changed since you've gotten married?
So I think one of the biggest things I keep in my mind is, I'm going to try not to butcher this scripture, but do not let the sun go down on your wrath or anger. Like, don't go to bed angry.
Yeah.
So I think that, and another key word, which I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this plenty of times before, but communication. Like, open communication, transparent communication, and not letting your anger be something that leads you astray is, I think, been huge for us. Because anytime I think either of us have been upset or angry with each other, like, we have not allowed, I'll use myself for example. There's been a few times where I just wanted to walk away from an argument or a conversation in my anger, and you'd be like, "Where you going? We're not done with this argument. We're gonna work this out right now." And I was like, because I've been so used to when I was younger, when I would get angry or I had an argument or a conflict with somebody. For me, the way I got like away from it was I walked away. Because I'm like, I would get very cold in my anger, and I wouldn't want to like lash out, so I would just walk away, or I would get super rude. So like for me, it was just like, let me just go ahead and just separate myself. And so me having to kind of confront and face my anger and like actually civilly work stuff out and communicate how I'm feeling and communicate. The actual issues to figure out things together, I think has been important to us being able to actually work through issues. Especially because, like, half the time I realized the stuff I was angry about, or I thought that you thought, or that thought that you meant, wasn't actually what you were saying, or what you actually thought, or I misheard something in my own mind.
Miscommunication.
And so that kind of led to issues. So I think once you can actually sit down and actually just have conversation and communication and, like, get past your anger in the moment is huge.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that whole don't let the sun go down on your wrath, because I think before we got married, it was very easy. Like, I think I was the one that used to walk away. I didn't even walk away because we didn't live together before we got married. So I think there would be days I just wouldn't answer your phone calls. Like, I would be mad. I wouldn't answer your phone calls. He would literally have to come to my apartment, and I would have to open the door for him to talk to him. And I did open the door. I don't know why. I was real nice. But I don't know. I was mad at you. I'm very surprised I opened the door and let you in. But now that we're married, obviously it doesn't work that way, because I sleep with you every night and I like my cuddle. So I don't want to be in the bed with you like, don't touch me, like, I'm mad at you. Like, I don't feel like doing that. I want my cuddle at night. So I know whatever issue we have, we need to work it out before we get into the bed at night, because I want to cuddle. But really, like, I do believe it's important just to not carry your anger into the next day and let it sit, because who just want, like, it's heavy to be angry. Like, who wants to be angry all the time? And it's just really uncomfortable when we argue, and I don't like arguing with you. So I think that's why we've gotten to the point where it's like, let's just hash this out right now. I don't feel like carrying this out for days. Just say what you need to say. I'll say what I need to say. At the end of the day, if we don't agree, that's fine. We at least can come to some type of agreement to disagree,
right,
or like some type of resolution. Like, okay, here's what we're going to do next time, since this did not work this time. So, yeah.
What's that?
How we solve conflict has definitely changed from me not opening, or me opening the door and you having to come to my house to come talk to me. I like this one. What are some ways you keep your faith during hardship as a married couple? How do we keep the faith?
Well, every morning we pray together.
True.
So I think there's a lot of things I can say with that, which I'll let you kind of mention. But I think the core of it is we keep God and us together. So Jesus is at the center of our marriage. So with us keeping him there and us continuing to focus on him and grow towards having a deeper relationship with him brings us close together. And so that helps us to get through the hardships.
Yeah, man. Because, there's been hardships. So I definitely think prayer is the main thing. We do our affirmations and stuff every day. And that's kind of like, we've been doing that for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years now. Just making sure we pray together every day in the morning. Like, first thing we pray together. And if we forget, we just try to pray sometime later that day. Even if it's literally at night and the whole day has passed. But I think talking things out, like, I think we have to be on the same page. Like, we have to be equally yoked.
Yep.
In order for our faith to work together.
Yep.
Like, we have to be on the same page. So we just try to do that, communicate, make sure we're on the same page. Yeah. All right. What time is it? We got time? Let's
see, 58. So you can either do that question or hop to that one if we finish.
All right. I'll do this last question. All right. We don't want to keep y'all long. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I don't know. If I see some hearts and likes and stuff, so I guess that means yes. But I'm going to answer this one last question.
I'll read it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Questions for Crystal. What motivated you to stay a virgin until marriage? And was it a decision you made as a believer to follow and trust God in your walk, or did other factors play a part?
That is a loaded question, because for so long, I felt like such an alien. I don't even know if I ever told you this.
Go ahead.
Like, just for so long, I felt like such an alien, right? The idea of staying a virgin till you're married. Like, I just felt like the people I was surrounded by, like, my friends knew, my close friends knew, but I always felt like I just couldn't tell anybody because I kind of felt like I was a little ashamed.
Interesting.
Like, I wasn't ashamed of my choice. I just didn't want people to see me as, like, oh, she's too good. Or, I don't know, like, I just kind of felt like an alien some days, Like, I knew what I was doing was very different from a lot of people around me. So, I don't know why I said that. Anyway, it really, to me, staying virgin until I was married, I almost want to tell you it was situational. Like, it was just the circumstance. But obviously God orchestrates our circumstances. So it was God, even if some days it wasn't me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was, the Disney people when they had like this purity ring trend and everybody was pledging to be a virgin until they were married. Like, I never did a pledge. I never had a purity ring. I barely even told most people. Like, only people who were close to me enough in my life actually knew that about me. So it wasn't something that I professed, and it wasn't even something that I, for a long time, thought I was going to do. God was just like, nope. So, yeah, like, I was kind of just eternally single. Like, I would date casually, but it was never like a serious relationship like the one I'm in. Like, it was never committed like this. And yeah, it was really kind of circumstances. Like, I was not in love with anybody, and for a very long time, I think I always in my head thought I wanted something like Love and Basketball. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, Love and Basketball. Most of y'all probably have. Where they're in love with each other like their whole lives. They grow up together, and like they both are each other's like one great love. And if I'm gonna spoil the end if you haven't seen it, they end up together at the end. They get married. I think they have kids. And so for me, I was like, that's it for me. Like, I know it when I love somebody, I'm going to love them forever. Like, there's no breaking it off. Like, when I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I always felt that as a child, even though I didn't want to get married, mind you. I just was like, I'm going to love one person forever. We don't even have to end up together in the end. I'm going to keep loving them after they even leave my life. Like, I just love you. And I want to say it was almost one of those promises that, you know how they say God can do more than you ask, think, or imagine? Like, I think he just did that because I had this hope and desire in my heart. And I think in some way by not indulging in relationships with people that I knew were bad for me, I was being faithful. And I think God just honored that, even if it was past what I really wanted. Because I feel like this is getting long, but I didn't want to be married, and I didn't. So there wasn't like me being a virgin until I married because I didn't want to be married. I just knew I wanted to wait for someone who mattered enough to me. And that ended up being me waiting till marriage, because when I met him, he was like, hey, I'm celibate and I'm not having sex again until I'm married. And I was like, cool, because I've never had sex, so I guess I'll have I'll do it with you when we're married. No, it didn't really happen like that. I was like, at that point, I had enough understanding that I was like, I think I do want to wait till marriage, because I was getting stronger in my faith and in my walk with Christ. So I was like, yeah, I could do that. Like, this is what's going to happen. And I think the biggest thing, I'm sorry I'm making this answer long. I think the biggest thing about me being able to wait till marriage, because it is not easy. It was easy when I was single, but when I got into a relationship with him, it became difficult, obviously, because we're human beings. But what also kept me waiting when I was especially in a relationship that I saw being long-term, and when I knew I was going to marry him, was the accountability that I had. Because I had friends who were still virgins, who were waiting till marriage. Like, me and my best friend both waited till we were married to have sex. And when I was in a relationship with him, she was still single at the time. And so waiting was still very much something we had done together for years. And somewhere in the back of my head, I just knew if I do this with him and we're not married, like, I have to answer to her. And not in a way like she's going to be disappointed in me or she's not going to be my friend anymore, but in a way that there was a certain standard that was held, and I wanted to uphold that standard. Like, I don't want to say I didn't want to let her down, but she was my accountability partner, because we would have conversations about it, and I would be like, hey, like, this is what happened, and, you know, we didn't do anything, but so she was definitely a huge part of the reason. And obviously God sent her in my life. Like, he sent the circumstances, and he sent her to be a support for me and a resource for me. So, yeah, that's my answer. Well, now, I actually have another part to that answer, too, but it's getting late. Should I just go ahead and say it?
You might as well.
Okay. So, person who asked, I'm giving you a very long answer. So, but there's another thing that happened that I think actually cemented me staying a virgin until I was married, because I was in a situationship with a guy in high school, and I knew that, like, the red flags were up, and I was like, this is not going to end well. This is not somebody I need to be dating. And I remember literally praying in my car. I was on the way to school, because we knew each other from school. We went to school together. And I was turning the curb at 7-Eleven. I'll never forget. And I just prayed, and I was like, God, if you help me get out of this relationship, because I had never broken up with someone before, so I was, like, scared, I guess. Like, if you help me get out of this relationship, I will stay a virgin until I'm married. And I'm not even sure I meant that prayer. Like, I meant it, like, in a desperation. Like, I got to figure out how to get out of this, because it's not going to end well. Like, I don't need to be with him. But obviously God heard my prayer. And I think, like, that's why you got to be careful about what you pray for, because what is it? The effectual fervent prayers of the righteous availeth much.
I think it's interesting. I think in your desperation, when you have those types of prayers, like, your spirit is praying what you need to be praying. I think sometimes. So I think a lot of times people say stuff like that, like, you know, like, you don't even know what it means, but, like, it came out your mouth as like, Lord, if you do this, I'll do this. And it's like, you ain't never did this before. Like, why did that come out of your mouth for you to promise to do that? And it's like, I think your spirit's just prompting you to what you really need to be doing.
I don't even know why I said that prayer. Like, I'm not sure I really was like, yes, I'm really going to stay a virgin until I'm married. But when the prayer went up and God sealed it up and he said, bet. you are going to do it. It shall be established. And yeah, I think the block, like literally the block went up right then because I did not get into another real relationship. That wasn't a real relationship. But I didn't like care about another guy as much as I cared, I guess, about that guy until I met you. So yeah, long story short, or long story long, God did it. Yes, God was the reason. He orchestrated it, but it was really not intentional on my end for many years.
Word.
Yeah. So, are we done with questions?
Yeah, unless, I mean, we had one we skipped over for time, but I mean, you guys, comment below if you want us to just do one more question, or we can go ahead and close out, because I know we wanted to keep it short, but, you know, depending on how you guys feel, we can answer this one last question, or just keep it moving.
Yeah. Maybe if you guys can let us know in the comments, if you feel like this is something we should do regularly, that would be great. Because we do like the interactive aspect of it, rather than us filming the videos, although we're still going to film videos because the Lord told us to do that, so we got to keep doing that. But yeah, maybe just let us know. Do one more question. Okay. Yeah. Ask and you shall receive. Do one more question. It's a good question too. How do you define your role as a wife or a husband, and has that changed over the years? I'll let you go first.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah.
All right. So, I feel like you can actually go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
Oh, how do I define my role as a wife, and has that changed over the years? First of all, yes, it has changed over the years. And I guess the way I would define my role as a wife, coming into marriage, I don't know if I had like expectations of what a wife is or what a wife does. I was just like, I just really want to be married to him. I want to combine our lives together. I want to be married to him now. I want to do everything on earth with him. So I'm getting married to him. But after getting married, I think, he said do it regularly. We will. After getting married, I realized there were certain things I was supposed to do. I had like obligations. And more importantly, like biblically speaking, because the whole, as I said before, like I was very much independent. So the whole wives submit to your husbands thing was still brand new to me. And I was like, I don't even understand really what that means. Like I didn't understand what that meant. But after years of being married and realizing some of my own faults and my own flaws and how I kind of am like a control freak sometimes. Oh, thank you, Holy Spirit. I was a control freak. I'm learning to release control. And yeah, like I think now I have grown to understand how a wife submits to her husband and what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean that I'm less than him, because I'm still equal to him. But in the hierarchy, in the Bible, it's God, man, wife.
Jesus.
Thank you. God, Jesus. Man, wife. So I had to understand that, and I had to be able to submit myself to his leadership in our household. You know, and just understanding that he is the final answer, because, and I feel like I'm making this long again, but ultimately in the world, like the world will tell you everything is 50-50, or, you know, you don't let no man control you, or blah, 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 blah. But this is not just any man. This is my husband who I am in covenant to under God. And as Christians and believers, there is a hierarchy there because it's written in the Bible. Like it's clear as day. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Wives, submit to your husbands. So I definitely had to learn how to embrace that role. And I think that was really the only role I considered. I don't really believe in like societal roles in a marriage. Like you do what works for your marriage. That's what makes sense to me. You don't have to subscribe to any type of role. But as a Christian, that's the order of things. If you're going to be in a Christian, in I kind of feel like I need to say a believer's marriage instead of a Christian. Yeah. Like if you're a believer and you want to be in that type of marriage, like a God-designed marriage, then you do have to follow that order. And that's something I had to learn. And in 5 years, I think I just arrived. Just arrived in 5 years of marriage. So that's my long answer. For you?
So for me, I would definitely say it's changed over the years. I think I definitely walked into marriage not knowing what it meant to be a husband. I mean, I've watched plenty of people in my family and others in their marriages over the years. But just because you watch people in the marriage doesn't mean that, first off, that's how your marriage works. Also, that things will work the same, nor that you're not a copy of somebody else's marriage.
Ooh, yeah.
So there's that. Secondly, on top of that, I dealt with, like I said before, confidence issues before coming into. So for me, the idea of being the head of the house was a little weird for me, just because I always was doubting my decisions in my choices. So for me, as you were learning to trust my choices, it was weird because I was in the middle of doubting my choices. So I had to gain confidence during the process, from doubting all my decisions all the time and trying to flip-flop and go back on decisions and choices to now I'm at the point where I'm very sure. I what that means is I don't control or abuse the position of leadership that I've been placed in by God, but what that means is I look at all the available information. I look at what you tell me, what your thoughts and your opinions on things, and I take everything into account, and I make a choice that is in the best interest of both of us. And so the way I look at things, it makes it easier for me to make a strong decision and be confident about it, and be okay in the fact that I know I'll be held accountable to God for those things, but also that I'm looking out for the protection of our household and keeping things at bay. Because I think at the end of the day, you have man and woman were created, man was created first, and then woman was created as a essential collaborator with the man. So they were supposed to be co-stewards under the rulership of God, and so they have equal rulership or stewardship, and so in the standpoint of everything running well, there's co-equalship, and then if something goes wrong, then the man is the one that the buck stops at, or is supposed to stop at, and so that's kind of where you have when the whole apple, or I won't say apple, fruit situation happens, where they ate the fruit. God doesn't say, "What have you guys done?" He says, "What have you done, Adam?"
He addressed
Adam as far as the responsibility, because Adam was supposed to be the one that made sure that things stayed in order, because the main responsibility fell to him because there has to be somebody who is it's like you're in a company, right? If everybody has the same position in leadership, there has to be somebody who is the front man, who's the actual CEO of the company. Even if everybody has equal, partnerships and stuff like that, somebody has to be the face of the company, the main one that everybody sees as the leader. And it's kind of that same standpoint. The man is kind of looked at as the front, even if we are equal. Yeah. So I look at us as an equal partnership, and I just kind of make that final decision because I'm held accountable.
Yeah. You're responsible.
But that shouldn't be anything that you use to rule over or lord over somebody else, or to abuse or anything like that. And at that point, you're not even really working in the plan of God's best interest for what marriage is intended for.
Well said.
So, yeah.
I almost called you Pastor Townsend. I don't know why I keep wanting to say that. Well said, Pastor Townsend.
Okay.
All right, guys. We've come to the end of our live Q&A.
Yep.
We hope that you enjoyed it. We liked it. I think I liked it. Did you like it?
It was fun.
Yeah. So I think we will give the people what they want. We'll be back.
Transparent Tuesday.
Ooh, Transparent Tuesday. Transparent Tuesdays.
Sure.
Transparent Tuesdays.
They seem to like it.
Transparent Tuesdays.
Thank you guys, every single one of you guys who came on. Thank you guys for those of you who have commented. We appreciate and love every single one of you guys, and hope that you have received something from our talking about our experiences and our perspectives and our testimonies on these different things. We hope that you continue to join us and share this so other people can be involved in the community that we are looking to build here of transparency.
Yes. If you know anybody who can benefit, please do share. And join us next time on Transparent with the Townsends.
Live Q&A.
Oh, we're going to call it live Q&A?
I don't know.
I like Transparent with the Townsends live.
I think we'll stick with that.
Yeah, whatever. Transparent Tuesdays, whatever it is. Bye, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. May the Lord's face smile upon you and he bless you. Later.